So what we're going to do is switch to face mode by pressing 3. And this is an instance when you want to be in solid view, because when you click down here, you don't want to be clicking a face up here, which is in your wireframe mode. You can click right through and hit another face. Let's grab this one right here and come into the front view. And we'll press E and extrude down to the heel there. And it extrudes on the normal there. So you see that it kind of came out a slight of an angle. So let's go ahead and kind of straighten that up. And if we grab our little rotation gizmo here, kind of just get that flat with the grid. Great. And now what we're going to do is go to the side view and make sure that we're straight there as well. Let's grab this face, go back to the side view and rotate. Let's use the side view here as a reference, and we'll actually bring that all the way down to the bottom. And we're going to hit Control R. We're going to drag that edge loop down to the beginning of the foot. What we're going to do is we're going to rotate in the back, and with face mode selected, we will go back to the side view. We will press E, extrude our foot. We'll go over here to the front. We'll do the same thing. We will extrude our foot. You can see that because we have the mirror mode on, it's doing it on both sides there. And let's go ahead and turn this back on, and you can see that he's got nasty little skinny kind of smooth feet. So what we're going to do is we're going to add an edge loop here, carry that up to tighten that, edge loop here, bring that down to tighten there. Again, this shortcut is Control R. Click there, slide it up front. We'll kind of tighten it up there as well by adding one, and then the back actually looks pretty good, but we can add one there just for safety. Now we want these feet to be kind of wide at the front. So what we're going to do is we're going to hit 1 to get our vertices selected. We're going to press C, and let's just select these ones around here. And you can see I accidentally selected some back here. So we'll press C, deselect those. We can use the scale key here, and let's just scale that out there on the x-axis, which is the red one. And let's press 2, and we'll deselect that by pressing A, and then let's shift click this, kind of stretch that out, and there you go. You can kind of see that we have a little owl foot. Now we can see it looks kind of smooth on the edges here, so we can actually go ahead and add an edge loop here on the side if we want. There's one way to do that, but then you can see that we're getting all these lines up here. So let's just hit Control Z, undo that. And another thing we can do to kind of sharpen scenes here in Blender, and this won't transfer to other programs, but it works for Blender. If we hit Shift there, Shift here, Shift there, we're just going to select those edge loops on both sides, click all of those. And what we're going to do is we're going to come up here to Edges, and we will do what is called Edge Crease, and the shortcut is Shift D. And if you hit that, it'll look like nothing's happened, but you need to drag left and right. So by dragging to the left, it'll sharpen that. So if it turns red, you've sharpened it all the way. So let's go ahead and bring that up just a little bit, and you can see it's kind of added an edge crease there, and that just kind of helps sharpen that edge up there. Now let's hit Control R, and we can add one down here for the bottom, and there you go. Now our foot kind of has its shape. So let's go back out here, and we can see that now our owl has his little owl feet. Okay, so now we have our feet, so now we need to add the wings and the eyes and the beak and the little tail feather. So what we're going to do is we're going to come here to our front view. We're going to hold Shift A, go to Mesh, and click Cube. And you may not be able to see it at first, but it is there. If you switch to wireframe mode, you can see that it's kind of hiding inside of our bird. Now it may be hard to grab, so what you can do is come up here to the collection, click that, it will select it, and then you will be able to see it. So let's go ahead and we'll just drag this out here for now, and we'll just make the wing over here. So we're going to grab our scale key. Let's go ahead and scale that in so that it's kind of thin like a wing, and then we'll rotate around here or just switch to the side view if we want. Let's go ahead and switch to solid view so we can see it a little bit better. Let's grab our y-axis, and we can go ahead and scale it down there. Now let's add a subdivision surface to this, and now it looks awful. So let's add our viewport up here to 2. Let's tab into edit mode. Let's add an edge loop up here and an edge loop down here. And I'm just going to go ahead, go back to object move, go to grab here, kind of move this down here. Then I'm going to go back into edit mode. I'm going to switch to vertices by pressing 1, and then I'm going to switch to wireframe. Again, if you need to switch modes, those are up there. Let's go ahead, grab these, and move those up and give them kind of short little wings. And we'll just grab this, grab the scale. Let's kind of scale that out there. And switch back to object mode, and we can now see that we kind of have a little bit of a wing there. So let's right click that, hit shade smooth, switch to front view, and you can see that we're not getting that crease. So again, we can come in here and add edge loops, or we can do creases. So let's do some creases. Let's switch to wireframe mode. Let's box select these, and we'll switch back to edge mode. Let's get rid of that edge and that edge and that edge. And I'm just shift selecting these to get rid of them. It's just the same selection in any other program. And let's go back up here into edge and do our edge crease. Let's go ahead and do that almost all the way. And then over here, let's actually, on this side, we will alt click and alt click there. And that'll just kind of select the faces in that edge loop, making it a little bit easier. And again, we will go up to edge and edge crease and kind of bring that out a little bit. And if we switch back to object mode, let's see now that our wings kind of holding its structure. And even though this deviates from the illustration, I think I'm actually going to exaggerate up here a bit. So let's hit 1, go into Z frame, and I'm just in the side view here, and we'll just box select those. Let's go ahead and scale those in a bit, grab this one, scale it in a bit. Let's go ahead, add another edge loop here by hitting Control R. And then once that's deselected, we'll just scale that out on the Y there. Go back into object mode. And there we go. So now we have our little wing. So how do we go about getting this wing onto this body? So we'll just grab this over here and use our rotation and just say that we kind of want to rotate our wing there, and you'll notice that it's disappearing into there, but we can still see where it is with the selection. So we're just going to kind of match that to our sketch, and you can just kind of go back and forth there, and I think that's good enough. So if I click here, I can now see that I have the owl's wing there on the side. Now I actually think I want to make this a little bit thicker. It's looking a little bit thin, so I've gone back into edit mode. We'll switch to wireframe mode. Let's actually use the C, scale that down by scrolling in the mouse wheel, and just select along here. Switch to our grab mode here. Now let's go ahead and just make this wing a little bit thicker. And I'm actually going to grab these 2 points here, and let's just move those in so that kind of gets thinner as it goes up. And we'll grab this one and kind of split the difference. And there we go. Now we kind of have a little wing that can jut out of our bird. And I actually want to make this rotate a little bit more so that the wing looks like it's sitting inside of the body more. So how do we get this to be part of this mesh? Because if we click this and move it around, you can see that they're not attached. And over here, you can see that we have our body. I'm just going to rename that now. We'll just call this owl. And up here, we have our wing. So what we can do is we can grab that, grab this, and we can hit spacebar to search, and we can search for join, and we can also press Control J. And if we hit that, see that now our wing pops over here, and that's because it has been added to our mesh. So if we hit edit mode and go in here, you can all see they're all in the mesh, but this still kind of serves as a separate object inside of the mesh. And if you want to select those independently of one another, you can hold the L key and hover over our vertice, and we'll select that object and press A to deselect that, or we can select our wing. Great. So with that, you can see that's kind of how we have our little wings. So let's go ahead and make our tail, and we'll come in here into the side view. We'll hit edit mode. Let's press L, and let's actually duplicate this. We'll switch to top view by pressing 7. And we can just go ahead and rotate this along the y-axis here. And I'm just going to kind of move around there so I can see what I'm doing. I want the tail feather to kind of be poking up like that. Then if we click this Z button and hold shift, we can rotate that more slowly if we want. But I'm actually going to hold it and press R and then hit 90 and then Z, and that will kind of push that wing back there. And then let's go ahead, switch back to the side view and move this down in line with his butt. Come back up here on the side, top view, sorry, by pressing 7. And we will kind of line that there. So you can see that it's creating 2 copies of the mirror modifier, and we will fix that later. But for now, we have a little tail feather for him. And let's come up here. Let's create a little beak. So we will do the same process. Let's add a box model, and we won't be able to see it. So just switch to wireframe view. Here, mine created in reference because I had reference selected. Let's grab that, move it up to our collection. Let's name this the beak. Let's scale that down, bring it up to the size of the nose. Let's go ahead, add a subdivision surface, bring that up to 2. Let's hit edit, and we will add a little loop cut right there, bring that down, and then we are in wireframe mode. So let's go ahead and we will scale that down on the X here. Let's actually add another loop cut, drag that down, give our beak a little bit. Box select that, and we'll grab that, and we're just gonna kind of move that down there. And again, I think we could actually scale that beak down even a little bit more in the X. Let's go back out to object mode, see what that looks like. And we can't see it because it's inside of our owl, so let's go ahead and bring this out so it's poking out there. Let's go to the side view. Let's go ahead, grab the rotate tool, rotate that back here, go into edit mode, wireframe mode, so that we can see through everything. Let's grab these back vertices here, kind of bring it up there. We can grab these, move these around. You do not need to follow me exactly on these. You can do whatever you like. Great. So let's actually kind of grab all these, use the rotate tool to kind of flatten that out there and move that up here. Awesome. Now, while in edit mode, let's press A to select everything. Let's duplicate by hitting Shift D, and then we're going to grab this down, and let's press R. If you're in the side view, this should work. We'll grab that and move that forward. Let's press or move that up here with our move tool still activated. Tap A to unselect everything, switch back to object mode, and you can see, oh no, his mouth looks awful. So let's go to the front view, go back into edit view, press L to select that one. We'll switch to our scale, and let's grab that on the X and move that in. I'm just going to scale that up there. Tap A to unselect everything, and there we go. We have a decent looking beak. Let's right click that, hit shade smooth. Okay. Now, we don't necessarily want to add this to the object like we did before. We don't really want the beak mirroring over. Remember how we had that issue here with the tail, how there's 2 tails on each other? Let's come back to the front view. Let's grab this beak. Let's grab this owl. Let's hit Control P, and this will allow us to set the parent. So you want to grab the beak first and then the owl. So once you've done that, you can hit object, and we'll do object keep with transform, and that will keep the object in its place. And now this object is parented to this object, meaning this object will follow and do whatever this object does. So if we grab this, we can move it around, and you can see that the beak is staying attached. And that's great. So remember before when I said I was going to fix the tail, let's go back into edit view. Let's select that tail, and now I'm going to show you how to remove an object from a mesh. So we can hit P, and that will bring up separate. You can also type in any of these commands into the search bar, and we want to separate by selection. And now let's go back out to object mode, and we'll click this object, and you can see that when we separated it, it kept all the modifiers that the owl had. So we'll just delete that mirror, and we will select the owl body and hit Control P, object, keep transform. Now when we grab our owl, I'm just going to press the G key and grab him to move him around. You will see that he moves with all of his features. Now I'm actually going to go back into the side view, and I'm going to start working on this eye here. So what we can do is we can actually, again, we'll add a UV sphere, so that Shift A, Mesh, UV sphere. And again, we won't be able to see that because it's inside of our bird. And you can just click that sphere here, which went into reference, and select reference, and we'll grab that, and we will move that up here. to be over the eyes. And let's press the S key and just scale down until we get that to the same size as the eyes, and we'll have our grab key there. Let's go to the side view here. Let's drag this out to kind of match our eyes there. Let's go to the front view. Let's turn off the visibility of our references. Let's go into solid view and see what we got. And that's kind of what we want, these big giant bug-eyed owl eyes. And that looks pretty good. So what we're going to do now is hit the owl body with the eye selected, and we're going to hit Control J, and that will join it and duplicate the eye to the other side. And now we are ready to begin texturing our owl.